Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Don't Wait Till Monday podcast. I'm your host Kirsten Quigley, and in this episode I have Day here, and I'll give you just kind of a little bit about how we met. You know the deal, how we met, and then how we know each other. I'll let her introduce herself and the topic, and we'll get things rolling.
Hi, Mom.
So, I met Day through Bulls Entertainment, you can
Yes.
say, right? She was one of Adam's teammates on The Incredibles, and so moving to Chicago, obviously being here, that's how I met her, and we've become friends over time,
Yes.
just knowing each other through that, stunting together, things, hanging out outside. So yeah, that's how we met each other, and she is a photographer and videographer, and so I thought it'd be great to get her on here. She has a few projects already out there. She's had some really exciting things that I've loved seeing,
Thank you.
and I was just like, I need to have Day on my podcast. And Adam even one time like called me when he was with Day, and he was like, you need to get on the podcast. I'm like, girl, I'm already thinking about it. So I'm very glad that the time is finally here, and thank you so much for coming out and being on my podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm
Of
so excited to be
course.
here.
So I'll let you introduce yourself a little more.
Yeah,
Right.
so my name is Day. I am born and raised in Chicago. I went to Baylor University. I have my degree in film and digital media. I've basically lived all over New York, Texas, Cali. I used to do cinematography in New York, and I'm a 4-time national champion,
Good.
cheerleader for the Chicago
Mhm.
Bulls, the first woman to dunk for the Chicago Bulls as
Yes.
well.
The elevators.
Yes, I've done a lot of things. So,
I love that.
but it's nice to be back home now and to do photography and to work for the Bulls and just like be back in my element. I'm just excited. So,
Yes.
yeah.
I love that for you. I love
Thank
a good
you.
origin story and how everything got started. So with that being said, we can just get right into it. So the first thing I wanted to obviously ask is, how did everything all start? So did you have the idea first, or did you have a camera in your hand at first? Like, did you always know I want to work with cameras or do something with production, or did you pick up a camera one day, started playing around, and then you were like, oh wait, I really enjoy this? Like, how did that come along?
So it's actually really funny. I honestly was like not really interested in like cameras or photography or anything until I went to college.
Really?
And it's funny, I went into college as a biology major.
Wow.
And changed major so many times and ended up going to film and digital media because I met a friend that introduced me to the major.
Cool.
And I was like, I love this. I was
Yeah.
like, why did I know this school had this? And why did I know this was a thing? So when I was in college, I ended up changing my major to film and digital media. And Baylor has this, they have this program to where like your last semester, you can do internships in New York.
Oh, cool.
So my last semester, my last semester would have been like in May, but I was on the acrobatics tumbling team.
Yeah.
I got into the program and my coach told me no.
Oh.
She's like, you can't go. Like, I need you on the team.
Yeah.
So we ended
Struggles
up.
of an athlete.
Yes. I was like,
Can't
oh,
study
but it's also my
abroad.
senior year. I like didn't want to leave the team.
Right.
You know, whatever.
Yeah.
So she, we made a deal together.
Okay.
And she was like, if you push back your graduation one semester, I will make sure you're covered.
Wow.
So we did that. So shout out to her. I love
Yes.
you.
Shout out Coach Bailey.
So we ended up doing that. Went to New York, and when I was in New York, I was working with this cinematography company.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like a guy and a woman, and they do it together, but they
Okay.
work with like Apple, FX, TNT. We did the Glory
Oh, wow.
Award, and so working with him closely, my boss, he showed me cameras and Canons and all these different things, and so
Yeah.
just working with him, I got to learn
Yeah.
like that aspect of things, and I came back home and I picked up a camera because
Ran
I
with
went through a
it.
crazy situation, and I was like, I just want to capture life.
Yeah.
And it was just, ever since then, I was like, yep, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, no,
And
I
so-
love that. And I feel like, well, a few things that I can relate to is with like the switching majors and like that's how you found it and stuff. That's what also happened with me in like Parks and Rec and sustainable tourism is like growing up, I always knew I wanted to travel, I wanted to see the world, I wanted to like leave outside of your typical vacations and resorts and stuff, but I never really knew what it was until, same thing, like a friend didn't tell me it was my guidance counselor or whatever they're called at college. But yeah, same thing. And they told me like to go into that field, and then I was like, wait, I'm obsessed with this. Like,
You're
it's like my
this is
first
the
class.
thing?
Yeah. And then it just, like, fell into your lap. But I love that your story's like that, too, because if you weren't to, you know, change your mind from biology and switch over and, like, take that risk and listen to someone telling you and going with your gut, you would have, like, never found it.
I would have never found it. Never found it. Because I was on the bio path to be, like, a doctor.
Yeah, I don't even know what path I was on.
It was not for me. I am a creative person, so I'm so glad. So yeah, change my major. I think I changed my major like 7 times in college.
Really?
7 times before I was like, got it.
This is it. Yeah. Yes. And sometimes that's what it takes. I think I switched like 4 or 5. So
taking
good
all these
for you
classes,
for taking that risk. Yeah. I mean, that's the point of college, right? Is to figure out what you want to do. So I'm glad that you also went through things like that and changed, because so many people are scared too, and I'm like, but you don't know what you can find.
College is a learning lesson in so many ways.
So many ways.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Take that risk while you're out there, man.
Exactly.
That's all I can say.
But back to New York, because we were actually hanging out last night, to be and that's when I learned that she lived in New York for a year.
Yes.
I didn't know that's what got you there though, so that's really cool too. That was the internship that you then ended up doing.
So yeah, I actually, my last semester in college, I was going to night classes and an internship for 3 different companies.
Oh, wow.
Yes, 3 different companies.
All in New York?
All in New York.
Wow.
A cinematography company, a like movie critic company, and then another company where I did like a lot more like research based and like pre-production type thing. So I kind of got all
of it. That's amazing.
The worlds at once when I was there. So yeah, that was pretty cool. So. And the cinematography company, after I graduated, offered me a job. So then I was like, yeah, I'm staying.
So then you worked there in New York.
I worked there in New York, afterwards.
What did you do? Like, what was your kind of like duties and positions?
So I worked very closely with my boss. And so you can say like I was like the, second AC or like kind of whatever they needed that day.
Gotcha.
Because he brought in his own people.
Gotcha.
Like Apple or TNT or like other companies would go to him and be like, hey, this is our project. And he's like, cool, I know this person that can do this, I know this person that can do that, I know this person that can do that.
Awesome.
And so while I was at, he'll tell me like, hey, we have this project next week, I need you to be whatever it is. And I was like, yeah, by all means, I'm there.
Yeah.
So
you were on set for different things?
On set for
that's
many,
really cool.
many different things. We did a lot of cool projects while I was there. Yeah, I got to meet some really cool people too.
Oh, I bet, especially in that city.
Yes.
That's really cool.
I love it.
Oh my gosh.
My favorite people. I can't wait to go back and see them both.
Oh, I bet.
I love them. I love them. Super sweet people. So, yeah, absolutely loved it there.
Cool stuff. Well, I love that. So then I guess my next question that I have, it kind of, maybe it was already answered, but I said, when was it that you picked up a camera and you knew this is something you wanted to pursue? But I think that was kind of...
Yeah, I kind of...
Answered a little?
Yeah, I kind of answered it. Like I said, he showed me, all the different cameras, and I went back home and I was like, yo, I want to learn more about this. But like I said, I also went through that crazy situation as well. And I was like, I also just want to capture life.
Yeah.
Because, there may be a chance that I might not ever have this again.
Yeah.
So I always want something to be like, yo, I was here. This is what I did. And it's always going to, photos are a million words.
Exactly.
And they're always going to be around. So,
yeah. That's one thing, too, that I've, like, watching your different projects and things is, like, your productions make people feel something. You know what I mean? And, like, that's what I love because, have you ever heard of Indie Blue?
Indie Blue.
She's, like, an influencer. She was she's very popular now still, too, but I think, like, 2015 is when she blew up because she had this insane travel video go viral on, like, Twitter or something. But her videos, her videos, like, make people feel things. And, like, ever since then, that's when I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I've always loved production as well. I obviously didn't take that route, but it's definitely, like, getting into, like, content creation and YouTube videos and things like that. Like, I love that. But her videos are very much like that, like, making you feel something. And I feel as though yours are like that, too. And that's something I want to do with, like, my different travel videos over time is just, like...
Do it.
Make people feel things and, like, just... Like you said, life, it's just capture the moments while you can and hold on to them. And then to be able to look back at them. Like, I've been vlogging for, maybe 5 years now, but I haven't been, like, consistent with it. And now I look back on my time in college and I'm so mad I didn't do it then. Yeah.
Yes.
So, just different things like that, but yeah.
Yeah, I love telling a story.
Yes, that's how I am too. And I really, right now, I enjoy doing it on, like, Instagram stories. Like, each story will have, like, a new, like, line. I found that kind of rhythm, but Yeah, I feel yours is like through poetry too, right?
So I love writing.
When did that kind of come into play with like poetry and like, I guess like finding your your style.
In college too. Now
Yeah.
that I think about it, I had this professor that made us do this assignment. It was a poetry assignment, and I was like, I suck at this. So I sent in 3 different poems.
Did you?
I sent in 3 different poems, and I was like, hey, if the first one sucks, grade the second one. I was like, look, and if that one sucks, grade the third one. Like, because I was like, I feel like I'm gonna fail this project. So like,
wow, sending it through that, good for you.
And I
would have been like, here's one, take it or leave it.
Like, she messaged me back after she had graded them, and she's like, you got an A+, all of these are absolutely amazing.
Wow.
And then she would give me side assignments throughout the rest. Yes. She would give me side assignments.
Because she wanted you to, like,
she wanted me to keep working. And so
that
ever since then, I was like, oh, okay, well then maybe I'm kind of good at this. So I would just give her random stuff throughout the semester. Yeah. And it wasn't for a grade or anything. But, so yeah, ever since then, I was like, okay, I like this. And then it became, like, therapy for me. Yeah. And then so that's like kind of, I just kept going with it. And so like that's kind of like I get out my emotions, and then I also use that in my projects too.
It all like intertwines. I love that. And I love that professor for like finding that in you and expressing it, because like you said, you thought you were writing these poems and you're like, oh, I don't know, like they're okay, and she's like, girl, these are great, and now you have a whole book. Yes. A poetry book that we'll get into. Yes. Drop that little hint right there. I'm excited to talk about that too, but
yeah, so shout out to her.
I love that.
She moved to England.
Oh wow.
But
let's take a trip to England.
Yeah, please, please. I would love to show her the book.
Oh my gosh, she would love that.
Yes.
Okay, well, I love that you had those professors in your corner.
Same.
I think that's amazing. And speaking of them pushing you to do projects, before we get into discussion of specific projects, I do want to ask how you approach a new one or a different assignment, or yeah, I guess assignment would have been college, but a new project now. And if you want to walk us through your creative process with everything.
You know, honestly, a lot of my projects that I do now are kind of based off where I'm like at in life. So whether it's like I went through a situation, or even if like I know someone that went through a situation that I can like relate to, I'm like, I can kind of use that and you know makes it like change it up a little bit. So a lot of my projects are usually just like life experiences or stuff like that, or to be complete like. Yeah. Blue Boy is kind of just like the same thing as well. Not really me, but like other people that I have known. Okay. So it's really just like personally, I'm like, if you see a project, it's like, oh, that's where she's at right now in life, or
that's what's kind of going on.
That's kind of what's going on. So it's kind of it, yeah. Yeah,
I think that opens up a lot of vulnerability, and people like, you know, like viewers and audience, they like a real story. They want they want a story. They want something to, you know, learn about or hear about or things. So I think that's great.
Yeah, that you do that. Thank you. And I love it because other people can
it's so natural too and authentic. Yeah, and that's another thing too, is you never know what other people can relate to. Like sometimes with my podcast, I'll do that. I'll like think of it. I have a thought, so I turn it into an episode. Or I know other people doing things, so I turn it into an episode. And then you just never know who can relate.
You never know.
Like I have like people that I talk to, you know, in like middle school or high school reaching out to me, and they're like, I love this episode. I'm like, oh my gosh.
You're like, thank you.
You know, like I just kind of put it out there, and people from all strings of life are finding some way to connect with it somehow. So I love that.
Yeah.
So then once you have the idea, I feel like it naturally like kind of just pops in your head, and then you like run with it. Do you take it to paper and pencil? Do you start writing notes about it? Do you picture like a vision in your head? How does that?
My notes app in my phone is ridiculous.
Oh, I feel like every creative person can say that. I just did a episode with one of my friends who's like a content creator, and she said literally the same thing. She was like, "Oh, it's all in my notes app."
It's ridiculous.
I bet.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And then usually what I'll do from there is, since like I'm a writer, I have so many different notebooks. Oh, okay. So I'm also the type of person that's like, when I, you know, years to come when I have kids, they can like go back through them and be like, yo, in like 2024 or whatever, this is what Mom wrote, you know? So I'll usually go into my notes app, and then after that I'll take whatever it is and get a new notebook, and then I'll just start like, you know, going from there and page by page, and it just turns into this whole ordeal. Yeah.
I love that. It's so natural for you.
Yes.
And you can tell, just by what you put out, you can tell like your passion for it.
Thank
and
you.
everything. And I just love that. It's so just authentic and genuine, and I love
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
So I guess then from paper to camera and like getting people involved in it, is it just kind of like a rolling thing? Like, you have someone in your head who will be good for the part. Like, I'm thinking like Blue Boy.
Mm-hmm.
You knew kind of who you wanted, so then you reach out, like different things like that.
So yeah, for Blue Boy, at first, I didn't know who I wanted.
Okay.
But then I didn't know who I wanted, but I knew like what the vision was in my head.
Yeah.
And I went to my friend from high school and I was like, yo, you fit the description that I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you want to do this? And he's like, I've never done this before in my entire life. He's like, I work in tech.
You did great though.
And I was like,
so
what? You would be amazing for it.
Yeah.
And I was like, just please. And so he did it for me. So usually, it kind of just depends on what I'm working on. Like, I'll have like a certain vision of people that I'll just kind of go through like, okay, who fits this?
Yeah.
And I'll just reach out to them.
Yeah.
And a lot of them be like, I don't do this day. And I'm like, but it's gonna work.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Just trust me.
Trust the process.
Trust me. I promise you, it's gonna come out amazing, and
Yeah.
you're gonna love it, and you're gonna be like, wow. Because now, like, Blue Boy is like acting now, and I'm like, hey.
Oh really?
I started something for you.
Oh
So,
my gosh! See, when a door opens, walk through it. That's amazing.
So I absolutely
love that.
now. So
Wow.
yeah, it usually just kind of starts off with like, all right, this is the vibe I'm going for.
Yeah.
Who do I know that can fit this?
Yeah. Okay, so now you have sort of everything lined up, and now you do your productions. I'm sure you probably schedule dates and tell everyone, like, meet here and there. So now you have all the film that you need. Mm-hmm. What goes into your process when you start to edit and put things together?
So that is absolutely funny you asked me that, because I hate editing.
Oh,
so
me too. It was just like the final outcome. You're like, I'm so glad I did that.
Yeah.
But during it, you're like,
I'm like, and then I also get very distracted while I'm editing, and I'm like, okay, this would look cool, but then I'm like, how do I do that?
Yeah, and then it's
so
like,
then I gotta go figure out how to do
Yeah.
that necessarily, because I'm always. But that's the one thing. I hate editing, but then like when it's done, I'm like, wow. Yeah. With this one project, I learned so many different, edits that I didn't know before or something like that. That I'm like, I can use this to keep building. Yeah. So I hate the process. So then you're thankful you did it, right? Yes, yeah. I hate the process, totally but then it always ends up coming out amazing. And then also, I'm the type of person that I will edit an entire video. And then scratch it. No, I'll scratch it. I'll scratch it. I will scratch it probably like 3-4 times. Wow. And then it's like the last one when I'm just like, all right, I'm over it, and I'll just start throwing random things to the timeline, and I was like, that just worked. Yeah. How did that? I don't know how. Wow. But that's literally the process. I will scratch it 3-4 times before I'm like, all right, this is it. Yeah. See, I have a few vlogs that I've scratched, and I just left them where they are. I like haven't gone back to it. So good for you for going back to it, because I will go back. Editing takes so much time. So much time. And if you like, I don't know what software you use, but Adobe. That's good. So basically, I used to use the laptop I have now that I use for just like random day-to-day things is Adam's old laptop from like 2017. Mm-hmm. So I used to edit on that, but it would lag. And so like when that happens too, editing takes so much longer. Yeah. Yes. So I guess what I'm just trying to say is editing takes so long. So long and so much time. It is very tedious, but the outcome at the end is always so worth it. It is. It's always worth it. Always worth it. So, I mean, hey, it's going to take some time, but you're going to be happy in the end. Yeah, so, exactly. That's all that matters. Keep pushing through. I love that. Okay, I'll ask this question now too, and then we'll get into the different projects. But when it does come to every project and you are like finished with it, I know earlier I was saying like I know that you make, or your productions at least like to me make me feel something, and I feel like that's something that just naturally happens. But what do you hope to get out of your different projects ultimately? Is it kind of different? Does it vary? Or it's just... It varies from project to project. For me personally, is that I just hope it just touches somebody. Yeah. That's all I really care about. Yeah. Well, I'm not really... I'm not really... Thank you. You got me. I'm not really, like, looking for any sort of outcome, but, like, as long as it can, like, touch somebody and they're like, yo, I can relate to this.
Yeah.
Or like now like I want to take this little project and like put it in my pocket.
Yeah.
That's really just like all I want. Is like I just want to tell stories that can just reach other people.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm like, that's all I ever want to do.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so genuine. I love it. I love that we're doing this episode. Okay. All right, so now we're going to get into some different projects that Day has had. So, we've already mentioned Blue Boy. We'll get into that. And then you also have Little Bird, which is the poetry book.
Yes.
And then your docu-series that is very vulnerable situation, but I think kind of was a turning point to all this,
yes.
right?
Yes, it was.
Which one would you... I thought I had it in order, but I think that the docu-series actually comes first. So do you want to talk about that one first, or...?
So, the docu-series, the situation happened first.
Okay.
Yes. But I believe I put out Blue Boy before that.
Yeah, so when I was like doing my little research and notes, I was looking at your Instagram and I found it in the order of Blue Boy, Little Bird, and then the docu-series.
Mm-hmm. That was... I put out Blue Boy first. And then it came. I think it was a docuseries, and then I think Little Bird. Something along those lines. But I know Blue Boy was like the first one that I had.
Let's talk about Blue Boy then. Since that was like your first, you'd say like legit production.
Yes,
like
legit.
You seen the vision, you
ran with it.
You brought it to life.
Ran with it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I wrote that at work one day when I was just like, I'm bored. I have nothing else to do. And I was like, we're just gonna write something real quick and. It turned into this whole ordeal.
Yeah.
It turned into so many people were like, yo, you should do more of that. And I was just like, what do you mean? I don't know. I didn't see it being as big as it was.
Yeah.
When I first put it out. And I just got so much great feedback from it. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm seeing what y'all liking. And I see what I like to do as well. So it was very much a very big, like...
pleasant surprise.
Yes, turning point for me. So... there may or may not be a part 2 coming.
Let's go Blue Boy part 2.
Maybe. Not gonna spill too much. Yeah. But, so yeah, it was just, that was my turning point for everything. And I was like, you know what? What else can I make in this realm of things? Like, from that one. So, yeah, Blue Boy is my baby.
I love Blue Boy.
That is
so good. When I literally remember being like, Adam, did you just see what Day posted? Like,
everyone,
so good.
Everyone did the same. I got so many text messages, and they're like, "Yo, where did that come from?" And I was like,
"It's just been in the dome."
I guess so. I was like, "I was bored at work 2 weeks ago, man."
Right. There it is. I love it.
Yes. Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about Blue Boy. So when you were at work sitting there, and it like came to mind, what were your thoughts and everything that went behind it? And I know you mentioned you were inspired by your favorite movie from this too,
so when I was at work, I work for the Jesse White Tumblers as well.
Okay.
So if you guys don't know, the Jesse White Tumblers have been around the Chicagoland area for probably about like 60 plus years.
Yeah.
And it's basically just like this program where, kids from, the city can come and tumble and like get away from the street life and everything like that. So I was at work with them, and so I'm surrounded by males. The team is mainly males. And I'm just like, man, like I see all these men around me, and like they have this one place that they can come to, but like they still can't really be themselves or like be vulnerable or anything like that. And that's just like what I wanted. It's like I just wanted to show men like, it's okay to show your feelings, or whatever. Even though society says like, that's not what we want you to do, but at the end of the day, they are still human.
Right.
They still have feelings. They still have emotions. Exactly. So like, why can't they show them just as much as we can?
Yeah.
And, it's like they carry so much on their shoulders. Yeah. And I just like, I'm like, I want something that can represent for them in that area. Yeah. And so that's just like where it came from, like me just like surrounding myself with them that day and just looking at them and like,
oh my gosh, I'm like... One, just started my period, so I'm like super emotional, but I just love production. I just love everything you're doing.
Thank you. So yeah, I just wanted something like that can stand for them. Yeah. And that was it, and that was all. And so it kind of just came from there.
Yeah. So. And then in other ways, I feel like other viewers were able to connect with it even differently from that,
Yeah, and so I just, so many people connected with it. I even had a few women that, like, reached out to me and was like, yo, like, I understand this, like, I can see it fitting me in this aspect, like, I also see it fitting my little brother. Yeah. Like, I had a lot of people that reached out to me from that project, so I'm glad it's doing what I want it to do and just touch
exactly.
people. That's it. That's all. So
definitely did. And I know it had to do with like the words in the poem were like drowning, or like there was a point in time where it was like breathing for air. What is like the hidden message kind of behind that?
So, you know, Blue Boy is set on the water.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously going back to, you know, all the older days, slavery and being brought over.
Yeah.
So I kind of base it upon, like, I base it on today, but then I also base it on those times as well.
Gotcha.
So,
because it's definitely like a Black empowerment project. Yeah.
Yes, and that's, you know, another thing that I wanted as well. So I tried to base it on, you know, what men can feel today. I mean, can't feel today, and then also back then as well. And then just kind of like, I guess, building that bridge between them both as well. So that's kind of just what I wanted to go for.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think you accomplished it.
Thank you.
And I'm excited that there's maybe a part 2 coming.
I'm excited for you guys to see it because... okay, I'm not gonna say
working.
Yes. We're in the works now, and it's already amazing.
But yeah, I love that. And so then your next, that one you could call your visual poem, right? And then you have Little Bird, which is your poetry book.
Yes.
Now this one dove a little more into your own trials and tribulations, right?
Yes.
So
this
one's through this too.
Little Bird is a little bit more about me and my life and kind of what I have been through. And honestly, when I wrote Little Bird and I finished it, I didn't even realize that like I wrote Little Bird with like 5 different projects inside of it that I can take away and be like, this can be its own piece and this can be its own piece and stuff like that. So it's definitely everything that I have been through from a trauma standpoint, from, you know, a family standpoint that I have been through, a relationship standpoint, the good, the bad, the ugly, you know, the beautiful, everything. Everything. It is honestly so much. And I tell so much about myself in that book as well. So you're definitely getting a deep dive into everything that has happened behind a closed door in my life when you read that book. So, and a lot of people said the same thing, or like, we did not know any of this. And I'm like, I don't speak about it. So that was kind of my way of like speaking about it and be like, here you guys go.
Yeah, but, like opening up.
I don't want to have that full conversation right now, but if you want to read it, you can. So, and people related to that too. You know, there's some people that go through a lot of this, like a lot of things I've been through. So, that one right there was definitely a more vulnerable piece as well. So
I know I wasn't able to get my hands on it, but if you still have
one,
then I would love to, and I would love to read it. But yeah, and also you had the Little Bird exhibition, right? So me and Adam were able to go to a little bit. But my mom was here and she had like flight issues, so we had to leave early.
It's okay.
But even being there and just having all of your projects out, I mean, you've done photographs for Lollapalooza and you've done just different kind of like casual shoots with your friends. And then you shot for at the Bulls games and different things. So, I mean, like the array of just versatility that you had in that room, like, was just amazing to see. So I love being there for the time I could.
I love the exhibition and to see all of my work all in one place and just have everyone come out. Family, friends, people that I didn't know that were like, hey, we saw us on Eventbrite.
Oh, wow.
I just wanted to come say hi. And I was like, oh, thank you.
That's amazing, So,
the exhibition for Little Bird was absolutely amazing. And hopefully I will do another one later on. I do not know yet. But
it was really cool.
I love to be able to show everybody my work, you know, and have my book there and everything like that. And just have all, you know, my friends and people that support me in one place. On my birthday.
Yeah, I remember it was your birthday too. That
25th birthday. That was amazing.
That's
amazing.
Great. Yeah.
So maybe we'll do more. Maybe.
Yeah, I'd hope so in the future. I loved it. I wish I got to stay for the video that you had played.
But you've seen it, right?
I have, because it's on your Instagram, I
yes,
think, too.
That's what I said to you guys. Yeah. So, Little Bird has visuals to it.
Yeah.
That hopefully, you know, by the end of the month, one of them will be on my Instagram. So
there you go. Are any of them? There is some visuals out for Little Bird, or?
Right now, no. There's the trailer
Okay.
is out.
Maybe that's what I saw.
But the visuals are not out just yet.
Okay.
So I have like a rollout for all of those and everything by the end of this month. So, beginning of next month. So hopefully, we can go and see those and see all the visuals. So, because the visuals are beautiful. The one for Admire. I did Blue Boy for the men. I did Admire for the women. Here we go. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see it and to be there to support you as always.
Thank you.
Okay, so then your other project would be the docuseries. And now share as much as you feel comfortable sharing. But I know this is not even just story, it's a part of your life that
it's gonna stick with me for forever.
Yeah, and I will let you tell the story of it, but definitely something that, literally could have been life-changing. It has been life-changing for you, and like you said, sticks with you. Like it's a thing. So yeah, go ahead and
when
share.
I lived in New York, I had a girlfriend at the time, and we were dating for about a year and a half. We were long distance.
Okay.
Lesbians and long distance relationships. And so we were going through some problems at the time, back and forth, breaking up, all of that good stuff. She came to visit me for a weekend, and it was actually the weekend before my birthday, so it was November 19th.
Okay.
I believe.
2020.
2021.
21. Okay.
Yeah, 2021. November 19th, 2021, she came and visited me for the weekend, and, we were there to kind of see if we can fix things and everything like that. Well, I was there for that. Yeah. I don't think she was there for that, now that I think back at it. And we went out one night, and we, we were chilling, having fun. My friend invited us out to a bar, this lesbian bar, and I was just like, I don't know if we should go, because you always would get mad at me whenever I did go to this bar, and so I'm not too for sure if, like, we should do it, and she's like, no, let's go, I want to meet your friends, and I was like, okay, I'm like, all right, mind you, these are also the friends that she did not like me hanging out with.
Oh, okay.
And
she only knew them from a distance at this point,
yeah,
right?
she hadn't met them or anything like that. Like, they never really spoke with her or anything like that. So they, they didn't meet her and everything. So, and I had two friends at the time. One of them, we're going to say their name was, DJ.
Okay.
And then my other friend, we'll just say his name was Ed.
Okay.
And so when I first met them at Henrietta Hudson's, they were really cool, accepted me into their group and everything. Yeah. And mind you, when I met Ed, Ed told me that he worked in advertising. Remember that. Okay. So we go out to this bar, and we're on our way to the bar. We never made it to the bar.
Okay.
Never made it to the bar. And in the process of us on the way there, she got into an argument with me. Well, we got into an argument. And we ended up missing our stop. Like, we were way past where we were supposed to go. And I'm like, you're arguing with me on the train. So, like, what am I supposed to say to you? Like, whatever.
So you're in the train station.
Yeah, we're in the train station. She's, like, arguing with me and everything like that. And she's like, where's our stop? And I was like, well, we missed it, like, 5 stops ago. Like, or whatever. Yeah. So eventually the train stops and she just gets off. Mind you, she's not from New York, doesn't know where she's going, anything like that. So I'm like, yo, you don't even know where you're walking to. We're on the wrong side. Like, we're way far from home at this point. So eventually she's walking, and she stops at the train tracks. And she stops, and she's facing the train tracks. And I go and I stand in front of her with my back facing the train tracks. And I'm not thinking anything at all. I'm not thinking about anything. And the next thing I know, I'm talking to her, and I'm like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, why are you so angry with me? What just happened? We were having a good time. You told me you wanted to see my friends. You started arguing with me. And I'm talking with her, and the next thing I know, she two-handed pushes me. I go flying. That's all I remember.
Just flying
I vividly remember this moment. Like, it was like a movie moment. I am flying in the air, and I can just see her standing there.
Oh my gosh, that is just so much.
It was the most crazy situation ever. My head hit the railing. I had blacked out. First time in my entire life I blacked out.
Yeah.
First time. And the next thing I know, I wake up to, there was 3 guys sitting next to us at the time. I wake up to those 3 guys shaking me. and screaming
down in the...
Yes, I'm laying at the bottom of
yeah.
the train tracks. They are shaking me and screaming at me, and they're like, if you do not get up right now, you're about to die. And I'm like waking up, and I'm like,
these random guys.
Yes,
right?
I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like looking up, and she's still sitting at the top of the train tracks, and I'm like,
just looking,
just staring down at me. And mind you, like that, like, you know, that
drop.
Yes, it's like 6 feet. I'm 5'1".
Right.
So I like stand up and I'm like trying to reach, and the guys realize like she's too short. She's too short. One guy jumps up and he turns around and grabs me, and like his friends throw me up, and like then he grabs his friends and they're like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" And I'm like, I blacked out. I'm like, I don't know what happened. And I was like, "Where's my girlfriend?" And they're like, "She's at the top of the stairs." And I was like, "What?" And I like turn around and like look at her. I'm like, I walk up to her and I'm like, "Yo, you just like pushed me on the tracks. Like, why? Like, what's going on?" Like, I'm like at this point I'm so confused, and I'm like trying to talk to her.
Did you have injuries?
So I have like this indent in my head now.
Oh my god.
I have this indent in my head. So it's been there. It's not gonna go away at all. I hit the railing. Pretty hard, obviously. So, after that, I get into a Uber. She ends up following me into my Uber, and like I'm texting my friend Ed, and I'm like, "Yo, we're not gonna make it. Like, we're not coming. I'm going home." And he's like, "What's going on?" Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, she pushed me onto the train tracks, you know, like, I'm on my way home right now, like, I don't know what's going on, I'm in an Uber crying. He's like, "Where is she?" And I was like, "She's sitting next to me," like, you know, in this Uber, screaming at me, yelling at me. My Uber driver's like, "What's going on?"
They always get
like,
it.
"What's going on?" And I'm just like, I'm going home, I don't know what to do, I'm going home. I'm going home, and we get back to my apartment, and, I'm walking upstairs to my apartment, and I'm like sitting there, and I'm still trying to process everything that has just went down. And I'm like, you know what? You gotta go. You gotta go. Grab your stuff. Get out. Go. She's like, "Where am I gonna go? You're the only person I know in New York." That is not my problem. I don't care. Like, get out of my apartment at this point. You can figure that out on your own. And I'm like, pack your stuff. Get out. Give me your phone. I'll find you a hotel. I'll book one for you on your phone. I don't care. You know, whatever. So I have her phone. 2 seconds into me having her phone, she gets text messages. "Baby." I said, "So you're cheating on me too?" So she instantly grabs my phone. Shit. Well, she grabs her phone back. I mean, like, out of my hand, and is like pushing me down into my closet, like face down into the ground, like trying to get her phone back. And I'm like, "Yo, get off of me. Get off of me. What, like, just leave me alone."
And did you have roommates or anything around?
So I did have a roommate, but because it was the week of Thanksgiving, my roommate wasn't there. My roommate wasn't home. So finally, she, like, you know, lets me get up, and I ended up, like, giving her phone back, and I'm like, "Yo, just grab your stuff and go at this point. Like, you push me on the train tracks, you're cheating on me. There's no reason for us to be talking to each other at this point, you know?" So
well, good for you for...
But that was not the end of it. Because after that, I am screaming at her, and the next thing I know, she punches me in my face. Like, I am a random person on the street. And literally was fighting me, and I am fighting for my life at this point. Literally. Fighting for my life. She's bigger than me. So, you know, that situation happened, and at one point in time, she had hit me in my face so bad that my gut just told me, "Day, if you get up, this next hit, you're not making it. Really? You're not making it." Wow. My gut literally told me. I was looking for my phone. I'm calling the last people that I know to come to my apartment. I'm just hitting people's numbers. 2 of them didn't even live in New York. I'm just like, someone come and get me. This wife and this husband that I knew that lived in Harlem. The wife ended up answering the phone. Wow. And at that point, it's FaceTime. So my face, I'm in the screen crying, blood, everything, all over my face. And she's like, "What happened?" Her husband sits next to her, lean over, and he goes, "I'm on my way." Oh my gosh, thank God for them. Like, and the next thing I know, she leaves my apartment, and she ended up coming back in because the doorman let her back in. But when the doorman opened the door, and I'm sitting like at the front, just sitting there crying because I'm paralyzed. I can't move at this point.
Yeah. So wait, are you still in your room at this point?
So by that time, we had kind of like moved towards like the kitchen, living room area.
Okay.
But like where I was sitting, like you open the door, there's a wide view to see me.
Yeah.
And I see him open the door, and he looks at me. I look at him, and I scream at him, "Don't let her back in." My face is bloody.
Yeah.
He looks at me, closes the door, walks away.
And she takes herself in.
She comes back into my apartment, and now I'm like, "Get out of my apartment." And she's like, "I left my ID. I'm going to be stuck in New York. I need my ID out the jacket that I had on, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "That is not my problem.
Yeah.
You're stuck in New York. You're stuck in New York. I don't care."
Tried to kill me.
But she ended up getting it out, ended up leaving my apartment, and she went back downstairs. And to this day, me and the police actually do not know if she left my apartment building or if she stayed in my apartment building. We have no clue. But as I'm coming down the stairs, my friend Ed and the police and the ambulance and the husband were all standing there in the lobby. And I was like, who called the police?
Yeah.
I have no clue. No. Little did I know, my friend Ed was a sheriff. He was the sheriff. He told me he worked in advertising. He was the sheriff.
What?
He was the sheriff. Yes. Yes. Because I was like, I didn't call the police.
Right.
So who called them? I'm like, maybe my neighbors did? Because I don't know if y'all... I don't know if they could hear.
You can hear, yeah.
Yeah. But so, yeah, my friend Ed that I had texted and was like, hey, we're not coming. And
wow.
I told him, called the police to my apartment. But they were like, we don't know where she is.
Yeah.
So... had to go through a whole entire thing of a court case and everything like that. But New York is kind of weird because it's set up in boroughs.
Yeah.
So where she pushed me onto the train tracks was Manhattan, and where I lived was Long Island City. Oh, so they're two different cases.
Oh, wow.
Which is, I think is completely stupid because they happen within like an hour from, I don't know. So yeah, two different detectives, two different, all of that. And she turned herself in for the crimes of my apartment in Long Island City, which was assault and harassment. She ended up getting a misdemeanor for that. Okay. Still to this day, she has not turned herself in for the Manhattan case, which is reckless endangerment. Yeah. But can basically get pushed up to attempted murder. Right. And if she if she turned herself in for that, that's her second offense. Yeah. At something that's very, very big. Yeah. So she has a warrant for herself in New York. Wow. So and you haven't seen her since I haven't seen her. I have an order of protection. Wow. She's not allowed to speak to me at all or anything like that. So I have not, since that night, I have not seen her. I have not spoken to her. Nothing. Wow. We have not ran into each other. Nothing. Yeah. So I have no clue where she is. Yeah. At all. And this is still an open investigation? It's basically still an open investigation because the Manhattan, police, haven't done anything about it. So, do you feel closure with the, apartment situation? No, not at all. Yeah. Not at all. No. I'm like, thank you, for turning yourself in for that, but those charges were way lesser. Right. My face, I had a tennis ball. My nose to this day is still broken. Really? So, it's cool, thank you. I got, justice on that end. But you live with these things every day. Yes, but, the train situation... I want justice on that. Yeah. Because I could have got electrocuted. Those guys did not have to jump down there and save me because you didn't. I could have been laying there for the train. My funeral would have been a closed casket. So that's the part that I want justice for. But, and I tried talking to the police because she goes to school, in Norfolk, Virginia. And so I was like, hey, no, she's still... there or not, I'm not super sure. Yeah. But at the time, that's where I knew she was going to school at. Yeah. So I was like, hey, this is where she is. Yeah. And you think especially contacting a school. Yes. Or hoping the police will. Yes, because that's what happened the first time. The school, for the harassment one, her school got contacted. Oh, wow. They went and knocked on her door and was like, you need to go back to New York and you need to go figure that out. Wow. Because you can't be on our campus. Yeah. Well, good for them. So, and I'm like, if you call our school again and just tell them, this is what's going on, they'll probably do the same thing. But the New York detective it seemed like he didn't care.
That's so annoying.
So, and I'm like, I want justice for this.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
Yeah.
But she still has a warrant, so hopefully, you know, she gets pulled over or something happens and they see it and they're like, we're taking you back. Yeah. So I pray to God, but until then, it's just I gotta keep praying on it.
Yeah.
To hopefully something.
Your time will come and you're using your voice.
Yeah, I'm using my voice. Power, yeah, I'm doing a docu-series on it because I'm like, I feel like at this point people like need to know about this. Yeah. You know, and there's still so many details to that story as well, like minor ones. You know, like I haven't said yet, but you know, hopefully, you know, the docu-series I do can gain some traction. Yeah. And it forces her to go back and turn herself in.
Because if that, I mean, her name's out there. Yeah. Her name's in the caption of the Instagram post. Yeah. People, you know how people are when they find...
And we went to high school together. So everyone that, like, I went to high school with, middle school with, my hometown, they all know her. Yeah. You know, whatever. So I pray to God that it reaches the... you know, detectives in New York to get them to do their job. Like, do your job. Do your job. Do your job. Like, not even, like, just for me, but, like, for other women that have been through these situations, do your job. Yeah. Like,
and I know you said, too, in the, one of the videos that you made about it, I don't remember if it was the first one you made or the second one, but you said, too, like, not only do I want justice for, like, yourself, but you're also, you know, you pray for the next woman in line, and you hope she doesn't go through the same thing. And
I guess I definitely I pray for the next, you know, woman in a relationship, and also whoever gets in a relationship with her needs to know these things. Yeah. Because little did I know, this wasn't her first time doing this. So I'm just the first ex to press charges. Yep. So I found that out afterwards. I was like, oh, you got a track record. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, you need to know because. Look, you almost killed me. Yeah. What are you going to do the next one?
Actually, yeah.
What are you going to do the next one? Yeah. Well, so, hopefully, pray to God that, you know, something comes of that situation. Yeah. So, all we can do is kind of just sit around and wait.
Yeah. Time is all you got. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that and for opening. I know that's a super vulnerable situation, but once again, I know you're turning to your poetry and your creative side to express it, and I think that's beautiful in itself because it's, again, showing your vulnerability, but just opening up these situations. There are so many people out there in domestic violence, abusive relationships, and you never know who can watch a video one day and take their step to get out of it.
You never know. You never know. Yeah. Because, oh my God, domestic violence relationships, I didn't even realize, like, I mean, of course, but, like, the extent of them. Like, I got to live in my apartment afterwards. Yeah. Shelters in New York. Like, it's crazy. So, yeah, I definitely hope that, like, the next person that unfortunately is in that situation comes across my story. I was like, you know what? It's time for me to go, man. It's time for me. Once you see that first sign and they say, I won't do it again, leave. So, yeah, that's all I can hope and pray for, that with the docu-series, you know, it just kind of
gains traction.
Yes, reaches the right people.
Well, I'm hoping to, and if you are listening to this, there are 2 videos on Day's Instagram.
Yes, so there will be more.
Watch, watch to get the first glimpse at it, and like they said, there will be more. So
yes.
That time will come out. But with this story, so I mean, I can only imagine it's now almost 3 years. In November will be 3 years since that situation, and obviously you've had time to just sit with it, and you've obviously done a lot with getting, you know, different police involved and different investigations and things like that. But when did the idea come that you were like, that's it, I'm turning this into something, and I'm gonna make it a story, a series?
I think for me was when I realized that the detective wasn't gonna do his job, and so I was like, okay, well, if you're not gonna do your job, I'm gonna do mine. Yeah. Yep. So I think for me that was kind of when I was just like, you know what, I'm not staying silent. Yeah. And then also I had a conversation with her mom, like maybe like a week after the situation. Wow. And just like what her mom said to me about everything, I was just like, I understand as a mother you gotta protect your child, But in
as a
situations
person,
like that,
as a human,
I'm sorry, I don't know how you can protect your child.
Yeah.
And I'm not a mother, so I don't fully understand. But just the conversation I have with her mom and trying to persuade me what not to do, and you're sitting on the phone with me and you can see how my face looks.
Yeah.
I was just like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't do this.
Yeah,
so
you have to do.
I think it was just I think it was just those moments, like once I realized, okay, the detective is not going to do his job, and then her mother is just like not the person who I thought she was. And I was just like, you know what? If y'all aren't going to do it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
So I think that was just like my turning point. I was like, I'm not staying silent about this. I do not care. I do not care what happens.
What it takes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
Well, good for you, because I feel like, as most things, if you want something, you have to go get it.
Mm-hmm.
And
100%.
Of course, there are detectives and things, but clearly not all of them step up to their job.
Not at all.
Simple duties of their job. So
serve and protect.
Yeah, literally.
But are you really?
But what did you do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, with the docuseries as well. So when you had some of those shots in the videos that are out now, you went back to New York and got those. The footage, right?
Yeah.
How
so
was that?
I went back to New York. Me and my cousin went back to New York for like a weekend. And we basically went around the city and like walked through the steps of everything that happened that day.
Yeah. How long was this after? It's like a year.
I went back last summer in July. So what was that? Like a year and a half almost.
Okay.
Yeah, a year and a half almost. So it was very. It just kind of made it all more real. Yeah. Because that was the first time I had been back to the train station since that had happened.
You went back to the exact
I went back
spot.
to the exact spot, the Chamber Street, train station, and like to just see how fast those trains are going.
Yeah.
To see how they're constantly moving. Yeah. Like the trains did not stop. One went, and it was 2 minutes later, another one was coming. Yeah. So like just kind of see like.
Putting everything into like a legit perspective. Yeah.
Like I got lucky.
Yeah, since you blacked out for that moment too.
I don't know how long I was blacked out for.
Yeah.
I don't know how long I was laying there. I have no clue.
Those guys, I mean,
props to them.
And you, I'm sure, like they helped you, and then that was it.
I never saw them again.
Wow.
Never. I don't even remember their faces.
Really?
Like if I would walk past them on the street, I couldn't tell you.
Wow.
I couldn't tell you. I don't remember the faces.
And I hope these videos reach someone then.
Yes,
and
they're like, we were.
Oh my gosh, that was me.
Yes. But
wow.
Yeah.
Because those are witnesses.
100%.
Witnesses.
100%.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, to go back and see how quickly the trains are moving and recording those videos with my cousin, I was like taking it all in. I was like, all right, like
was that?
I was really laying down there. I was really laying down there.
Was it like I don't even know. I don't know. Was it like healing at all to go back in a way, or just more traumatic? Like.
I wouldn't say healing.
Yeah,
or
I knew that was the wrong word.
But no. But like, it was just like, I don't know. It just made it real. Like it wasn't
just like really sunk.
Yeah, like I really processed. Like this really happened. Yeah, this really happened. Like 100%. I was laying there. Yeah. Like afterwards, it took me forever to get back on a train.
Oh, afterwards,
I took Ubers everywhere.
Yeah,
in New York.
Especially, yeah. So
I was like,
how much longer did you live there after that situation?
Afterwards, that happened in November. I came home around March.
Oh, okay.
March. Yeah, a couple of months after. So yeah, I was still there for a long amount of time. And even when I eventually got back on a train because Ubers were expensive, and I was like, all right, I can't keep doing this. We're gonna have to get over there. We have to get over the sphere real quick. Every time I walk next to a train, my legs would get weak.
Really?
And they would get.
I mean, I can imagine.
Yeah, they would get so weak to the point that I'd be like, "Dave, don't you fall over."
Oh man.
Don't you fall over, because that's how weak my legs. Like I would just they would just tingle. Yeah. Every single time.
And your stomach probably like
dropped every time. Every time I saw like a little kid, like I would just like go stand just like nearby and just make sure they didn't do anything. Yeah. Cause I was like, please.
I know kids scare the hell out of me at train stations.
Oh my! I can never get in New York. But yeah, no, and then so like afterwards, and then like going back like a year and a half later to see everything, and then walk back through the day, go back to my apartment building.
Wow, yeah.
And everything, and I'm like, this real life happened.
Yeah.
A person that I was in love with. The day before I told her I was gonna marry her.
Wow.
Yes. And the day after. Yeah, so I think it just made it more real going back and like seeing it, and I was just like, all right, yeah, nah, this story needs to be told.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, I'm sorry you had to go through all of that.
It's weird. I never know. It's okay.
Yeah. I know you apologize. There's like, yeah, but man, that's.
I just pray I get justice and help somebody else.
You know, I'm so thankful those guys were there to help you out, and I'm thankful you're here today. Like,
thank you.
And that you can even share the story. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's not easy, but you're doing it with, you know, like with pride and with just strength. So
thank you.
I applaud you for that. But yeah, like I think I'm trying to put together the time between when you were like sitting with yourself or with your thoughts and you started having those visuals. Like, were you still living in New York, or did it take like leaving New York?
It took for me to leave. Yeah. It took for me to leave New York to come back and kind of make other projects first, and before I could actually sit down and be like, okay, what do I want to do?
Yeah, like how do you want to do this?
Okay, how do I want to go about this?
Yeah.
Because a lot of my other I always tell a story, but like a lot of my other projects is like, how do I put it? It's like I always put it into like a character or like someone else. Gotcha. Is like type thing where it's like, this is like a documentary, like, you know, it's real, it's my name's in there, her name's in there, it's like everyone's name is in there, you know. This isn't like, you know, like I was like, hey, I have this idea, or I know this person went through this, and so I'm just gonna make a fake character, and you know, kind of. So
this is your story.
Like, this is my story.
Your situation.
So it took for me to like go through other projects and like be like, okay, do I want to make a fake character? And, you know, something that's going to represent this? Or, like, do I want to put my name on top of this? Yeah. And I was like, you know what, we're putting my name. Yeah. We're putting your name.
Yep.
I put, you know, documents from our court cases, like, you know, or whatever, and put, like, those pieces into it as well. And I was like, I'm not shying away from this. Yeah. I'm not going to hide your name. Yeah. I'm not going to do any of that at all. I'm not saving your face. Yeah. So it took for me to step away and be at home and kind of just like, I just had to sit with it. Then I had to think, like, do I want to do this?
Right, yeah.
Like, do I want to put this out? Yeah. Because then it's like,
I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, everyone's gonna be like, you know, that's your story, but it is my story. It is. You know, it's part of who I am for the rest of my life. The rest of my life. Yeah. So it's like, hey, either I tell or somebody else does.
Exactly.
So, you know, it definitely took me to step away and then revisit it. And I feel like even still now I do the same thing. I step away and I'll do something, and then it's like, all right,
when it's time.
Yeah, when it's time, I'll go back and I'll revisit it.
Yeah.
And then it's like I'll revisit it and I'm like, ooh, okay, that was a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and I keep constantly doing that. It's just a hard situation to face at the end of the day. So regardless of how much I, you know,
process it.
Yeah, process it.
Write it down.
Mm-hmm. It's still hard. So you know, I didn't want to make a fake character, and as many times like I step away from it, you know, I'm gonna come back to it until you get the justice at the end of it.
Absolutely. So. Well, I'm here for you. I'm sure most everyone listening to this podcast, all of your followers, we're all here for you. So thank you again for opening up about that and
of course
sharing that story. But yeah, moving into more questions about back to production and you as a photographer, videographer. What advice would you give to aspiring photographers or videographers who are just starting out?
Do what you love, and do it from your heart as well. I know with like photography and videography, there's so many different routes that you can go weddings, sports,
Yeah.
you know, projects. I love
Travel,
doing. I love
photographers.
Yes, there's so many different routes.
There is, yeah.
So honestly, for me, and it kind of took me a second to figure that out. You know, what route did I love the most?
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's just like, you know, try them all.
Yeah.
Try them all, and if you're like, oh, I hate this,
then guess what? You don't gotta do it anymore.
Yeah.
You can stop.
But if it pays the bills, it pays the bills.
Right. True.
But honestly, for me, you know, whatever route you go down, it's like as long as that route speaks to you, then by all means go for it.
Yeah.
100%.
I love
so
that.
I love projects. So I'm gonna do projects, you know, for forever.
Yeah.
But I do love sports as well, and I also do love doing projects with my friends or like for other people and stuff like that. So, yeah, I like being given like an assignment or something. Yeah. A story to tell. That's what I like. So. Yeah,
I love that. Well, I definitely have some ideas in my head, so I'll share them with you after this. Okay. But yeah, something I was gonna say though is how you were saying, you know, like try everything. Like if you your advice to aspiring photographers and videographers, like to kind of take different paths, see, you know, what you like. When you were just saying, explaining like the docuseries, how you had to go back and sit with things or like revisit it, or with like most projects you were saying how you like revisit things. I think that's great that you don't rush into things and that you take your time with it.
You know, I can't rush into things. I cannot. I feel like when I get an idea, then I'll rush into it.
Yeah.
But then I always kind of hit like some sort of like roadblock.
Yeah.
And like that's what kind of makes me always take that step back. And I'm like, okay, how do I do this? You know, and do it correctly. Yeah. So I will get an idea, then like I'll start, you know, diagramming it out and everything, and then I'm like, all right, now what? Yeah. So yeah, no, I never try to rush a project. Yeah. When it's finished and it's done, then that's when you're gonna see it.
Yeah, and I think that's great advice to give, because I know, especially now, instant gratification is such like a common thing people look for.
Yes.
And it really does come with patience and time. Like I've had a few things myself where I'll rush it, and then like I said earlier, I'm not like you, I won't scrap it. I'll just be like I'm putting it out because I need to put something out. But then like now I'm looking back at like a few like videos I made for brands, and I'm like, that's not me, like that's not my work, and I was like rushing it. So I appreciate that you take your time with your art and your work, and I think that's really good for others to see.
Yes.
To, you know, remind them, like, take your time, it's your path, it's your journey.
Yes.
It's your timeline, you know.
Yes, it's going to be better when you take that step back anyway. It's going to be 10 times better when you take that step back.
Yeah. And we were actually talking about this last night, too. Yes. We were saying, like, sometimes we come back to things and we're grateful because by that point we've thought of more ideas that are even better than the original.
Or you done met somebody or went through something, or I don't know, something randomly happened and you're like, I can use that. Exactly. And now we can make this 10 times better than what it was before. Exactly. Like, don't rush it. Don't rush it. If you feel like you're missing something, go find it. Exactly. Go find it. Yes, go find it. Because you may never know, like, that just took this project from here to here. Yep. Like, so, no, take your time with your projects. Take your time.
Yeah, definitely perfect advice to give. Thank you for that. So what are some any tips that you could share for building a successful career in this industry? So I guess your projects, though, I don't really know if that's, I guess what I'm trying to say is your career. Mm-hmm.
You know, I am honestly at the point where I'm still trying to figure that out myself.
Well, I feel like for creatives, it's hard to, because you just have to do it before it becomes a career.
Mm-hmm. So for me, like, I guess you could say I'm still trying to figure out what is my end goal. Yeah. Because I do photography, I do videography, I love music, I like writing, and so it's like I do so many things. So it's like, how do we put this into
together? Yes, I totally get that.
Yes. And so sometimes it makes it really hard for me to kind of like dive into just one thing, because I'm like, I have this idea over here, but I want to go over here. So, like, trying to build a career off of it. I don't know. We're just gonna have like see where that path takes me. Yeah. And honestly, like that, because I do so much. Yeah. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard.
It is. I was just kind of going back to like just editing and everything, but with like creative people, it's like you put so much work in for barely any like compensation for, or, you know, like when you work for a job, you get paid.
Yeah.
And like in these sort of industries, you put in a lot of work, but it really doesn't come until
later on, yeah.
If you're even
or the
lucky
outcome
enough.
may not even be as big as you thought it.
Right. Yeah.
Be. So creative, like it's
hard.
a hard, it's a hard industry. You know, whatever route you decide to go, whether you know that's in front of the camera, behind the camera, you know, on the music side, you know, singing, songwriting, you know, it's a hard industry, but like.
But it also shows who's truly there, you know, for like the right reasons. Because if you're not getting that instant gratification, you might quit right away, and it's like, well, do you really love these projects anyways? Do you
were you just doing this for something else?
Right, like so.
No, definitely you can tell. You can tell like no, like they love what they're doing. Yeah, they touch so many people. Yeah, they do all these things. Yeah. So I mean, you can definitely tell. Yeah. But if you stick with it, man. Props to you.
Yeah,
props
your time will come. It will always come, right? Okay, so in this industry, what is something like a trend you see emerging in photography / videography?
Oh my god, I see so many different trends.
Yeah.
But I also think they're constantly moving.
Yeah, and evolving.
Yeah. It's kind of hard because it's like I'm friends with so many different people that do so many different things. Yeah. Like I'm friends with like sports photographers, and I'm friends with like concert photographers. Yeah. And I'm friends with like people that like do weddings and like stuff like that, or like people that like shoot for other artists. Yeah. You know, so it's hard. I see so many different trends, and I'm like, whoa, that was cool. And I'm like, that over there was dope too. And I was like, can you teach me that?
Can we also mix all of these things?
Yes. Yeah. So, and then now you have the world of like AI.
Yeah. And so, I feel like it's a lot easier for accessibility to people with, I mean, there's creatives who just use their iPhone. Yeah. And CapCut. Yeah. You know?
I do so many things with TikTok and CapCut. Yeah. And then I like, for real, like, bigger projects, I'll use my Adobe and everything. Yeah. So there's so many different trends. I think it just kind of depends on, like, what field you personally want to go in. Because they're all different. Yeah. They're all so many different edits, so many ways you can do things. Like, it's really
what people come up with, like...
And then I see people that, like, I've seen someone that's, like, a concert photographer, but then they went to go shoot for sports photography, but then they used everything they learned from the concert photography for their sports photos, and I was like, I would have never thought of using those edits, like...
Yeah, I know, it's just insane how...
So...
What the industry offers, too, there's so many... It's, like, never-ending. You never know what the next person's going to think or come up with.
You never know. I love watching my friends and watching them create or helping them with their projects. So I'm like, I would never thought of that. Yeah. I would never thought of that. But I'm love that you did. Right. So like,
thank you for showing.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
And I'm sure people can say the same about you as well in your work. But I feel like too with this sort of rapidly evolving field, the question I have is how do you stay current? And like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you are very in tune and in touch with other creators as well. So I feel like that helps you stay grounded because you're all probably bouncing off of each other's ideas, and because of this, you have like a community that you've been able to connect with, so that keeps you very up to date and current with the industry. Since
I've moved back home, I kind of have definitely made so many friends within this industry, and I absolutely love it. And they're all kind of in different realms of things. So like, for me to stay current, like I said, my projects are usually always like where I'm at in life. Yeah. But usually like I will do a project and I will like bring my friends on. I'm like, hey, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. Or, you know, whatever the case may be. But then like usually after I do a project, I always like kind of like burn myself out a little bit in a way. Gotcha. Because I like put so much into it. Yeah. And so for me, I'll take a break. Yeah. But then I'll take a break, but then I'll go help my friend with their project.
Oh, so you during still my break. Stay.
So I still kind of stay.
You keep your brain working.
Like in the realm of things. It's just that personally, I'm not doing my own. Yeah. I'm there helping my friend develop whatever idea they have. Yeah. So then that way, like, I'm still involved. Around and involved and everything like that.
That's really good.
It also helps me because like I'm learning from them. Yeah. And helping them, and I'm giving also them my ideas that I may see that they may not. you know, and I love it because I have this little friend group, and we all help each other.
I love that.
And like someone does like he's really good for like cinematography, and I have one friend that like has his own clothing brand, and like I have like another friend that like he's really good at like editing. So it's like it kind of works because we're all like someone will like text and be like, hey, I have this and I need people. Okay, great.
And you can be there for each other.
Great.
That's great.
Yeah,
you can like bounce off each other's energy.
And I love it. Yes, I love it because we're like, hey, I'm doing a shoot. I need apparel. You know what to hit up.
Oh, that's so good.
I'm doing a shoot. I need an editor. I know who to hit up.
Yeah.
Like, so I kind of stay current in that way. Like, I'll do my own projects, and then I'll let my project do its thing.
Yeah.
And while it's doing its thing, I'm like, you know, over here helping my friend do theirs.
Yeah.
And so that way I can kind of see, and they're always introducing me to, you know, their friends and their world, and I'm always introducing them, like, people I'm meeting to my friends. I'm like, hey, follow this person on Instagram. That's my best friend.
Yeah.
Like, you may want to see their work. Like,
keep it around.
So that's kind of like how I keep staying around and everything. Like, I'm always just trying to help the next person.
Sorry for this interruption, but anybody watching the video, my camera cut out and the battery is saying it's exhausted, so for the rest, you will just be seeing this screen. Anyways, going back to what we were discussing, we're wrapping things up soon, so just stick around for the rest of the episode. But anyways, so we were just talking about, Day, how you stay current in your field and how you connect with others and all those good things, which I think is great. And I think that what I was going to say is that I love that you say that because I think this can also show others that it doesn't have to be a one-man show.
Please
reach out, you know, to others. Like, I think connecting and making a community and just getting in the same room as like-minded people is so good for you as a person, or like, you know, like anybody in any situation. Like, for a doctor to be in a room with other doctors, like, just be in a room with like-minded people does so much for you and for your brain and for your ideas, things. It's just amazing. So I also love that you brought that up because I think it's also great for aspiring videographer, editors, creatives to hear. So
build your community, man. Build your community.
Exactly. Okay, and so 2 more questions left, and this next one we kind of, I feel like, touched on a little bit, but it says, all right, I have, can you tell us about a project you're currently working on or a future project you're excited about? And so I do feel like we touched on a few of these. But...
A little bit. So currently I am finishing up Admire. Okay. And I'm also working on the part 2 to Blue Boy.
Yes.
And then I'm also the type of person that I can't work on one thing at one time.
Oh, yeah.
And then obviously I still have the docuseries as well. So those are like the 3 main things that like I am by the end of this year, you know, trying to put out, with all the minor ones I'll probably come up with in the middle.
Yeah.
But right now, I'll put out Admire, do a Blue Boy part 2, and you know, the docu-series has some other elements to it as well. Yeah. So, yeah, those are like the 3 main that I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited. They're going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to see them, and as always, you know, your work is amazing, so
thank you.
Can't wait to see what you come up with.
Thank you.
And lastly, where do you hope to see yourself, or where do you hope to be in 10 years with this?
Lord. Man, in 10 years, what? I'll be 35.
Yeah,
I'll be 35.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. Just somewhere where I can make art on a daily basis. Yeah. With my friends, with my family, and that's all my life is. You know, obviously, you know, married, kids, hopefully by then, you know, but if I can, you know, have my own family and then I can just be an artist at the same time, I will be fine. I will be fine. That's all
You just want to keep doing your thing.
I just want to keep
curating.
I love that. I just want to keep curating.
Never stop.
Keep curating. You know, being an entertainer, I've been a performer, a cheerleader, you know, dancer, all of those things since I was a kid. So, you know, I love that too. So, you know, anything in that realm. I just, you know, I pray that, you know, that's where my life can be in 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a great goal to have, or just a great aspiration to be at in 10 years, and hope you achieve it.
Thank you.
We can come back in 10 years.
Yes.
Re-meet.
Yes.
You know.
and see.
Yeah, how many
See where it
projects
went?
can
Yes.
be produced
Oh,
by
Lord,
then,
in 10
you know?
years.
There's so many options. And if you have kids, you do projects for them, you know, there's just so much.
Oh, so many routes.
But that's the beauty of
so many routes.
The beauty of production, the power of production. That's what I'm naming this episode, as you can see through the title. But there's just so many great things that come with it: storytelling, sharing feelings, sharing other stories. You know, just putting everything out there for others. I think it's great.
Yes.
And I just
I love it so much. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this, path takes me in life.
Yeah.
And, wherever God lets it take me, I'm going to be grateful for it, regardless.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I'm excited to see, and thank you so much again for coming on to
Thank you for
Don't Wait Till
having
Monday
me.
podcast. It was great sitting here chatting with you.
Thank you. I can't wait to be back.
opening up about all these things. I'm excited for everything that's to come in the future. And for those of you listening, go ahead and check out Day's Instagram. She has your own, so you have your own page, which is DeAndrea.
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 DeAndrea_. And then I also have my production page, but I post so much more on my like main page. That's just where like most of my followers are at.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So there's also One Day Productions.
Yeah, it's there.
Might as well check that out too.
But yeah, and then my website as well. It's just my name, DeAndrea.com. Yes. So yeah.
Check all those things out. Definitely, if you feel something, you feel connected, let her know.
Yes, reach out. I answer my DMs. I do.
There you go. So she does respond. But yeah, thank you again for coming on. Thank you everyone for tuning in and listening. And I will see you in the next episode.
Yes. Bye.
Peace out.